All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Cheltenham Elementary's presentation of our hybrid program. I'm going to go through some slides with you this evening to go over what our plan looks like, little pieces of our hybrid plan. In addition, at the end of the presentation, we will have time for some Q&A. So if you notice at the bottom of your screen, there's a little Q&A area. That's the area where you can ask questions throughout the presentation. There may be lots of things that I go over that may be asked already. So if you'd like to wait until the very end to ask that question, that's fine. But as we're going through, you can feel free to get to the Q&A if you'd like to ask any questions. We will be gathering all of your questions. If I can't provide the answers to you this evening, I will make sure that we get the answers to you, and we will provide a FAQ sheet, frequently asked questions sheet, for you all to see. So we will combine the questions both. We did have some questions from our families in our virtual presentation, and we'll also have an FAQ for our parents who are asking this evening in our hybrid presentation. So with me this evening is Mrs. O'Connor, AKA Wonder Woman. She is gonna make sure that I stay on track and make sure that we capture all of your questions. And also want to thank Mr. Kaufman. He's also on the call, just being recording all of this, so you all know. So those who are not able to attend this evening will be able to see this presentation, and it will be shared out via social media and the Dolphin Times newsletter as well for everyone. In addition, I do want to add that I will be sending out more than likely by tomorrow, or definitely by the Dolphin Times, you will get a link to a video presentation. It's about a 15-minute video that you can watch along with your children, that will show you the building, what it looks like, protocols, a lot of things that we already are going to talk about this evening, but it just kind of gives you a video footage of what the building might look like coming inside the building. And especially, we do have a little section in there specifically for our kindergarten parents, especially those parents who have not entered our building before with their children. We wanted to make sure that we have a little bit of a orientation for you, a little video of what the building looks like on the inside, because we know we want to make sure your children are comfortable coming into the building starting February 1st. All right, so without further ado, let's get started here. Okay, that's our agenda for this evening. All right, this is a little bit about me. This is what I've been doing since March. Obviously spending a lot of time with my family, my wife here, Becky, and my two daughters, Mandy and Alex, 16 and 8. Can't believe I have a 16-year-old. It's a good thing she's a good kid. I'm lucky. And then obviously to the right, those of you who know me know I love animals. I spend a lot of time with my two Boston Terriers at home, and if I'm not with them, I'm probably on my motorcycle somewhere when the weather's good. Instead of zooming, I'm zooming around in my motorcycle. So I hope that you've had an opportunity during this craziness, during this pandemic, to spend a lot of quality time with your family, and I think it's important to do so, and it's important for us to keep ourselves in this environment, thinking how we can, do better for ourselves as well. All right, this is as of, and actually I have to change that date because there has been some changes since then, but approximately 50% of our students we're all in the hybrid model. So I just want to make that clear. We're all moving into a hybrid model. It's just a mode of instruction that your students are receiving. Your students are receiving in person And then those who are receiving virtual are receiving virtual, but everyone's in the hybrid model moving February 1st. So this is kind of the breakdown about what it looks like, how many students are going to be in each classroom. We do not have a classroom that exceeds 12 students in a hybrid format. And then the rest of the students that are in that classroom, parents have chosen to remain virtual. So it's almost right down the middle is the amount of students that are hybrid versus in person versus the ones that are virtual. So I just wanted to show you, this is just a layout of the building for you to kind of see what our building looks like. I will, for those of you that don't know the building, you'll get an opportunity to see the video and get an idea of where some things are. I'm going to point these out in the video. Excuse me, I'm ahead of myself here. But you'll notice that we have changed the Walker entrance, and I'm going to share that soon, but you'll see where the new Walker entrance is. It is now located on Front Street. So you'll be crossing around the library into that walkway. So if your children do walk to the building or you walk them to school, instead of coming through the main entrance, you will come around the library entrance, and then students will enter along the door on that side. The main entrance will still be the entrance for the students that are arriving on the bus. And then the car line, for those of you who are familiar with the building, you still will come in off of Ashburn, stay right, come around the building, and the car line is in the back of the building. This next slide illustrates that better for you. Car line, this is just a picture of the lower level of the building. And then you'll notice that the car line kind of comes around the side of the building. And then students will be dropped off at that, what we call the third grade door, but it's closest to the third grade pod, but it's really door C2. And that's where the students will come into. And then you will exit, and then you have to exit right off of Front Street. There is no left turn on Front Street. So for admission and dismissal, one of the things we do want to let you know, the district has decided that February 1st will be an asynchronous day for all students, which means that those families who are in virtual will not be logging on with the teacher, so that the teachers in the building can focus on the students who are in the in-person. And then they will be doing a lot of asynchronous activities, et cetera, during that time with those students. So just wanted to make you aware of that your students will not be seeing other students from the asynchronous during that day for the virtual, because that day the teachers will be focused on their students. You will be receiving information about the monitoring tool that's going to be coming out. We're going to send out information via QR code that you can download onto your phone. Make it a lot of us have the old screener. If you have an iPhone, you can add that to your home screen, and that way you can click right on it. You'll also get an email option as well to link to it. But this is going to be very important. This is vital for us to ensure that your children can come into the building and you do not delay their entry. Okay, this is crucial that this is done every single day. At this point, it's been open 2 hours before arrival time in the morning. So when you get up in the morning, if you put a reminder on your phone, some of us have little alarms that we put on our phones. You can right away enter the kids in, answer the questions, how they're feeling that day, what's going, are they, there's certain questions that go along with it. Please answer them honestly. If the child's not feeling well, if you've been out of the state for more than 24-hour period of time. So there's going to be some questions that we need you to ask. And it will tell you, depending on how you answer the question, whether or not the students are going to be clear to come to the building. okay? And again, I want to stress that students who do not have it filled out, if you're not here with them, we're going to remind you to help fill it out. We have folks that are going to be helping us screen the students wherever they are entering the building to make sure they're not on that they're on the green list, for lack of a better term, that they filled out the screener, they're good to go, and they'll enter the building. If not, and they walked to school by themselves or they got off the bus, those students will be gathered in the cafeteria, and then we will make phone calls to every individual family to ensure that the screener is filled out and they can go to class, okay? This is crucial. We do not want them late for class. We do not want them to miss any part of the day. It is important that these screeners are filled out on a daily basis. Masks, I'll get into this a little bit later as well, but please make sure that your child does have a mask every day. If they do not, for any reason, we will provide a mask for them. We will have some available for them as well, but they need to wear a mask. In addition, if they are coming on the bus as well, they should be at the bus stop wearing their mask. Okay. We are increasing the amount of adults at each of our locations, both in the morning and at dismissal. This is to help us with monitoring students as they're coming in. We definitely need that. In addition to dismissal, we realize that there's going to be an increase, especially in the amount of cars in our car line. So we're increasing students there. So we will have additional staff in those areas to, as quickly as possible, keep the process moving for both arrival and dismissal. So this kind of gives you an idea of where the new walker line is. I kind of explained it before. Students will not be entering the building until 8:45 a.m. in the morning. So, we will start letting them in at 8:45. In the past, they used to wait in certain areas with all of the students together. We will not be doing that. As students enter the building, they will go directly to their classrooms. Teachers will be in their classrooms, waiting for students, greeting them immediately. They will not have to wait in the cafeteria or in the gym as they have in the past. Okay. So the in-person, and I just want to clarify because there was a question, the in-person students will be coming in on February 1st. Okay, so those are it is a day that they will be learning. It's just that those that would usually connect virtually into the classroom, they will not be connecting virtually. This way, your classroom, your child's teacher can focus on the students that they have in person with them that day. Okay. And there was a question about buses, and we will get to that soon. This is, and I just want to reiterate, this is where the new walker entry is on the side of the building. And this is also going to be in the video that I'm going to be sharing out this weekend. Okay. For the car line, those of you who have been to our building, the entrance still remains off of Ashburn to the main entrance. You're going to stay to the right, come around the car line. Please maintain that 5-mile-an-hour speed limit. Okay, come around to that fire lane on the left-hand side as you go down. The cones will be up. You'll have folks that we are going to be giving you after the first day. We're going to be giving you laminated visor cards with your child's name on it. We ask that you please place them on the windshield of your car after you get them the first day. That way you can it'll make dismissal and arrival a lot smoother for us as we can, until we get to learn all of your vehicles, all of the cars. We have new staff members, so we want to make sure that we can get the process going. We have those names. Either you hold it out for us or you make it visible on your visor so that we can see it clearly through your windshield. And then we will alert you on those students that are able to come into the building. All right, the bus procedures, bus arrival. You will be getting bus information shortly. We are awaiting that information that will be shared with you via email. And if I'm not mistaken, Miss O'Connor, will that be able to come to them by early next week, I think, possibly? We're hoping, but you will definitely get it sometime next week. We were hoping to have that by the end of this week in order to share early next week, but we are getting that information gathered, and then we will be sending that. It's not going to be sent via mail like we have in the past. It will be sent via email. Okay, so you should check your emails for that bus information.
As soon as it's available, I will be sending it out, yes.
Okay. In addition to the visors that we mentioned on the cars, every child will be receiving a laminated 3x5 card that has a lanyard that has their name, their ID numbers, in addition to little stickers for us to determine whether or not they're going to be walkers, bus riders, or they're going to be car line students. So we hope that that's going to be sent home with them on Monday, or that first day after February 1st. That's going to come home with them. We hope that that can come with them every day, okay? Until we, they're going to need that number, especially our youngest who haven't remembered their number. They're going to be showing that number to the lunch folks, and once we get to that, we'll touch a little bit more on that in the lunchroom. But they're going to use that number a lot, so you're going to need to know. A lot of them, I'm sure, have already been using it, logging into the virtual, as it has that number in there as well. Okay, but we ask that they wear that as much as possible every day, so that we get familiar with the names and we can see the names as we're screening kids coming into the building. Okay. The bus, just to reiterate as well, students may not change seats. We are going to ask students to come into the bus, fill in the bus from the back of the bus to the front of the bus, and then they will be dismissed from the front of the bus to the back of the bus. Dismissal. Dismissal is at 3:40. However, if you are picking up your child via a walker, or if you're picking up your child via the car line, we will be dismissing students several minutes earlier, just to keep traffic moving and that we don't back things up. So I would advise that if you are coming in a vehicle, we will probably, you can probably come around that 3:20, 3:25 time. We will be dismissing students to those areas, and as quickly as possible start dismissing students in the car line first, okay, into the walker line, and then the bus riders around the same time. The buses, it will be dependent on when they arrive. We will dismiss the buses as they arrive to the building. Students will be called to the foyer area by buses in order for them to line up in the socially distanced spots that are in the hallways and then get on the bus. So there isn't an area where they wait anymore. They're going to be remaining in their classrooms to wait as they're waiting for the buses. So we want to, in every location that they are in waiting, they will be socially distanced. And if there is any kind of area that is due to weather, we will have the students inside the building, okay, waiting instead of, the car line area. If they're, if it's too cold for them to wait outside, we will have the students come inside in the main hallways, and we will call students out as cars come to get them. We had a question about multiple visors. If you'd like multiple visors, we can provide us multiple visors. So if more than one vehicle picks up or drops off please, I would say the easiest way to do it would be to email your classroom teachers or Bloom's them. And then that way those messages can get to Mrs. O'Connor. And then she can make sure that we make additional copies for your child.
Yes, no problem at all.
Okay. All right, and this is recent news. If you have not heard, unfortunately, due to staffing issues, we will not be able to have the class program, which is the before and after care at our buildings. All right. Please, changes in dismissal need to be made by 12 p.m. So if there is if you have to pick up your child for any reason early, and you have not alerted us ahead of time, please let us know by 12 o'clock that day if possible. Email, and please, anytime you email the teacher, please CC, copy Mrs. O'Connor and let her know. Our teachers are obviously going to be, teaching. They're going to be in a unique experience with not only teaching your students in front of them, but also teaching students that are on virtual as well. So they're going to be juggling a lot of things at the same time. So it's going to be very difficult for them to get messages if you're sending them, throughout the day. Even I know you do a good job in sending things through Blooms, et cetera. But I would say also, if you can try to send a message to Mrs. O'Connor as well, to just let her know of any dismissal changes as well. Okay, so we just want, the day is a full day. Okay, so we just want to make that clear. We know that now the in-person, the virtual ends, the face-to-face time ends at 1:20, okay, for most students currently. In the in-person, the students will do their asynchronous work, the work that they should be doing after 1:20, that is going to be done in the classroom, okay? So I just want to emphasize that it is a full day of school in the afternoon, okay? So I don't want parents thinking that they can, that you guys can come at 1:30 to pick up every day, okay? We will require documentation if you have an appointment. So please, I know many of you do a good job in providing us that, so we can excuse the early release, et cetera. And obviously the same for absences. If you're picking up after the designated dismissal time, we will, as we have in the past, students are going to be taken to the cafeteria, okay? And then from there, you will have to come to the front entrance to sign those students out. If you come, after four to pick up the children, we hope that won't happen, okay? But if that does occur, you will pick them up in the front office if they're not in the location that they normally would be picked up. I want to share with you one of the things that you'll notice is in this schedule. This is just an example schedule that's going, and some of your teachers have already shared this with you, but obviously because we have lunches back in the schedule, lunch and recess times will be different. Right now, they're kind of relatively around the same time, but obviously they're different now. So teachers will also share with you information regarding snack as well. So those who have a later lunch, there will always, be a opportunity to have a snack in the classroom as well. Or teachers have also worked ways that they can have a quick snack and get some fresh air outside as well. So that's an opportunity as well. The afternoons, so you know that there will be synchronous work. So the students, as they're working like they have now, they will work on IXL, they were working on the various programs the teacher gave them. The teachers are still in the rooms working in small groups. So your kids will participate in that process as well if they work in a small group. Some kids in the virtual may be invited, as they are now, into those small groups. They'll be invited back in to the afternoon sessions for blocks of time in order to get additional either enrichment, intervention, et cetera, if they're receiving any types of services. If your child does receive any services, they will continue to receive those services. The support teachers have done their best to ensure that those services have not changed much in the scheduling portion of it. If anything has changed, they will be alerting you of those changes. So as we currently have, new content is taught Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Wednesday is, and Wednesday I want to stress, and I stressed this as well too in my other presentation, Wednesday is an asynchronous day. Wednesday is a day of attendance. Wednesday, students need to complete work. Teachers document work that's completed. That is counted towards attendance. If there's work that your child needs to do, teachers give out assignments, they check the assignments, they document whether or not the student completed those assignments. If students do not log on or students do not complete any of those assignments, we do give a few days for those assignments to be made up. However, if they are not made up, that day counts as it has, as we reported earlier in the school year, it does count as an absence, okay, in the student's attendance. Okay. All right, so each of the classrooms functions as a cohort. We have kept to maintaining a 6-foot distance in the classroom. We have maintained a cohort model, which means that your children are going to be exposed to only those students that are within their classroom setting in most parts of the building. So we're going to talk soon about specialists. We're going to talk soon about what the cafeteria looks like in recess. But within the classroom environment, as much as possible, we are maintaining that 6-foot social distance among students, but we also want to maintain that a cohort model when they're together throughout the day as much as possible. Well, obviously, we're incorporating hand washing throughout the schedule before they go to lunch, after they come back from recess. They will still be utilizing digital platforms as they have before for intervention enrichment. One of the things we do want to talk about, we want to stress is those that are in person, the way that the technology is set up. Right now, everyone is logged on from their homes. You have your own individual bandwidth. They can all get onto the Google Meet. The restriction to what we can do in the in-person students is that when they're in person, they will be looking at the students that are in virtual from the smartboard, and they'll be able to see what the teacher is teaching from the smartboard as well. So your children, although they are bringing their laptops, their Chromebooks to school, they will not be on the Google Meet at the same time all of the other kids in their classrooms from home are on the Google Meet. So for example, if the 7, 8 kids are in the in-person, in my classroom, those students will be looking at my screen. I will be teaching from my screen, and students will be able to hear the students in virtual. They'll be able to respond. Teacher will be able to respond. They'll be able to see if the teacher has the students on the screen as well. They'll be able to see them. However, they will not be interacting as far as being in on the Google Meet at that time. Now, if your child receives special services, okay, throughout the day during that WIN period is an exception where there are some students that if they're not going to be able to go see that teacher who does that support group, that support teacher can only take students that are within the same classroom at one time. And then the other students who are different classrooms will log in through their Google Meet from their classroom, okay? So they will still be able to connect through Google Meet, okay? This has to do with the bandwidth issue. We cannot have students all at the same time in the building on Google Meet. We do not have the bandwidth in the building to make that happen. We can, however, have several students in the classroom at different parts of the day on Google Meet. So if they're having services, they can still get those services through the Google Meet sessions. The way that they're set up in the classroom, most classrooms will have your child will have a desk and another desk next to them. They will have their laptops, they will have their computers. They will not need to use the cubbies at all. In most of the classrooms, there's really not a need at all. If there's some additional supplies teachers are going to keep separate that students can access, they will keep those in the cubbies, but there really isn't a reason for them to go into the cubbies. Everything is going to be at their fingertips, and they're really going to have 2 tabletops to work off of that will get cleaned every night as well. So there's plenty of space, and within that as well, each of those 2 desks together are still 6 feet apart in the classroom from the next student. And again, as we're doing everything as much as we can, trying to keep things digital resources, and obviously assignments that students are working on as well. Students in virtual will have access to those assignments. And one of the questions is, yes, students will need to bring their Chromebooks to school every day, okay? And obviously, the last one is probably cut off there, but we're avoiding sharing any materials, pencils, et cetera. Everyone should have their own materials. And we'll get into library books shortly. All right, we're still using the curriculum resources as we had before. Social emotional learning will still be in the schedule, both in the morning and in the afternoon during that asynchronous time. Students will still, again, they will need to bring their Chromebooks on a daily basis, and students will be taking the majority of their materials home every night. It's important in order to do this because in this environment, we never know when we have to, pick up and go from virtual into a hybrid scenario. All right, the afternoons. The afternoons for students will be focused on practice, applications, any kind of additional support students might need. There will be second recess for the K1 and 2 students as well. Traveling through the hallways, you'll see in the video as well that there are we're keeping students on each side of the building with socially distant spots. All right, this is what the cafeteria looks like. We have removed the cafeteria tables. So if you can see here in these photos, there are desks and chairs in the cafeteria. Your child is going to get a desk that they sit at. Every single day they will sit at that desk. We're actually labeling each of the desks to know exactly which student sits at that desk. It will be cleaned. Each desk that is used will be cleaned after each lunch period. So everything will be wiped down, disinfected, chair and table. chair and desk will be wiped down after each lunch period. We blocked it into the schedule to have time in order to do that before the next group comes in to use it. Students may bring their packed lunch. We will provide free lunch for all students. So if your child in the past has not received free lunch, you had to pay for it. Free lunch is available for all students at this time. As far as we know, that will continue and will not change. So we will try to send a menu out to let you know. However, free lunch is available. One of the things we do want to mention is we are also going to be sending home lunches with students for Wednesday. So if your child received a free lunch, school lunch on Tuesday at school, they will receive at the end of the day on Tuesday a bagged lunch to take with them that's non-perishable. They will receive it Tuesday afternoon so that they have a grab lunch for them on Wednesday. Okay, so that is the procedure. So if you do want to have your child have a lunch for Wednesday, they must eat and order the school lunch on Tuesday in order to get that lunch on Wednesday. Parents who are virtual can still get can go through the meal pickups at Cedarbrook, and that will continue at Cedarbrook. And if you've been going to Cedarbrook to get the lunches, you're no longer going to be able to get the lunches after February 1st. Your lunch, you would only need the Wednesday lunch because your child will be getting the lunch in school all week, except for Wednesday, they will get that Tuesday afternoon. Recess will follow. There's a 20-minute recess after that 20-minute lunch period. They will not be required to wear their mask once they're at their cafeteria seat and eating. Once they do get up out of their seat for any reason, if they raise their hand, they have to go to the restroom. If they need to, leave their desk for any reason, they will have to put their mask back on, and they will then proceed to wherever they need to go, mainly if they need to go to the restroom or whatever. When they go out for recess, yes, we will ask them to wear their mask during recess. Equipment. We have spent your tax dollars, thank you, in purchasing equipment for each classroom. So we're gonna have special go bags, recess bags, just for each classroom that has balls, ropes, etc. that are labeled with your classroom. They will be the only ones that will use that equipment in that lunch space. We have 4 designated areas where students will rotate through every single day during recess. We have 5 if your child is in 5th grade, 5 designated areas, but they'll at least have 4 areas where they're gonna go to, take turns on a different day. They'll have a chance to go play on the equipment one day. They'll have a chance to go to the other side. Some will use the lower playground, will have a chance to play on the grass. Some will have a chance to play on the opposite side of the gym. We divided the gym in half. They'll have the gym space to utilize. So they will have a designated aide with your class. So if there's any issues, students know directly who to go to. That person will be with them every day during recess. And if there is, for any reason, inclement weather, and they have to do an indoor recess in their classrooms, that there will be one designated person for your child or for each of the classrooms. Okay. The playground equipment will be open. Basketball rims will be installed as of February 1st. So those items will be open to the to our students and obviously as well to the community as well. And like I said, movement in the cafeteria will be limited. Obviously, if they need to go to the restroom, just certain amount of students will be able to go at one time in order to maintain that social distance within the hallways and in the bathrooms. And we will designate bathroom breaks. We're going to encourage the bathroom breaks even before students go into the lunchroom in order to facilitate that. We're also asking parents, teachers may reach out to you to get some Ziploc bags for items that students can keep during an indoor recess, or they may have another system in place for that. But just be on the lookout for anything that teachers might want to bring in, or teachers might ask you to bring in. This is the lunch schedule changes for each of the grade levels. And you'll also see when the cleaning schedule is and when the recess schedule is. Again, these slides will be available to you and that will be sent as well. So, all right, some of the masking things I want to talk about. Masks are worn at all times. I'm going to encourage you to get a mask that has ear loops, okay? Or this is, fancy one that I picked up that I had made with the logo on it. This is also helpful for students as well. Anything that wraps around their head to keep it secure. We recommend anything with a, 2-ply fabric, something that covers obviously their nose up to the bottom of their chin. Okay, so recommending those. In addition, I know some folks asked about like gaiters, which are these types of items that kind of slide over. The concern with these is the fact that they slide down. Okay, they slide off the nose very easily. They slide down. It's constant moving up and down. These also can get very uncomfortable and moist as they're really stuck on the students' faces. And as you can imagine, they get pretty wet throughout the day. So, if your child does wear this, we'll keep an eye on it. If it becomes an issue, we may offer them a different mask to wear. So I just wanted to kind of alert you. Anything that's, ear loops or kind of wrapping around, we would probably recommend the most, in order for them to keep them comfortable throughout the day. We will have these signs that I mentioned here, the 6-foot distance signs, the one-way signs as well are on the floors. We've also designated one-way stairwells so that we maintain traffic patterns in the building. So we have stairwells that we want students only to go up, stairwells that only go down. Obviously, in a fire drill, that's out the window. Okay, we just go out the closest door in that scenario. All right, we want to let you know that the typical water fountains will be off during the this COVID time. So, however, they will be able to fill their water bottles in the classrooms. Each classroom has a sink, so they will be able to fill their water bottles in the sink. We're asking that if you want to, have students bring in a plastic water bottle, that'll be the easiest. You can, put a marker with their name on it, and then they can fill it up as they need it throughout the day. One of the things we also want to mention is that, guests or visitors into the classrooms are almost all going to have to go virtual this year. We're not, unfortunately, due to safety protocols, we will not be letting in visitors into the classroom unless they are, an employee of the district or any kind of, someone doing work on the building, vendor, things of that nature. Those things have been vetted through. And obviously everyone that comes in that scenario would have filled out the COVID screener, would have gone through a process to be able to be allowed in the building. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. Any meetings that you need to have with the teachers, reaching out to them will still remain the way that it has now via, via communication through Blooms and also via Zoom meetings if possible. think I mentioned the cohorts and the zones. This is a typical classroom, what it looks like. Okay, in this scenario, the desks are singular, but just think about another desk right alongside the child's main desk, and that's what it would look like in the classroom. So there is plenty of space. Okay. All right. Some of the things as far as safety goes, we're obviously minimizing, students congregating within a short distance. We are going to be teaching them ways that they can play with the equipment outside, socially distanced. We're going to be showing them various games that we can play outside. We're obviously going to be eliminating any kind of contact related sport, and instead putting in some activities that they can remain active, but be obviously socially distant. Some of these things I did mention already. We also have hand sanitizer dispensers along the hallways as well. So as children are coming in from recess, they will, they will definitely squirt. They'll probably be, they're just going to get so used to the amount of hand sanitizer they're going to have access to. We're going to encourage that as they come in, especially off of recess and going to lunch as well. Okay, and like I said that as well, cleaning equipment. Okay, will be wiped down as well. Oh, sorry, I did mention the indoor recess. I think these two things I did mention already. All right, the specialist. So for library, art, and music, they're going to remain, those teachers will go to your child's classroom. We are going to, on February 1st, each class will remain with the same specialist for a 2-week block of time. So for example, if your child may start that the first 2 weeks, they're going to go to library with Ms. Pellish for the first 2 weeks, of that week, February 1st. And then after that, their next rotation, they will probably go to art. Next 2 weeks after that, they will go to music for 2 weeks. 2 weeks after that, they will go to gym for those 2 weeks. Your teachers will share what that schedule will look like for your child. They will have an opportunity to go to all of the specialists from February up until spring break. After spring break, they will get a chance to go back to that first specialist that they had. So if they start with library, they'll get a chance to start again with library after spring break. So they'll get a chance to go back to that specialist and see that specialist for another 2 weeks. Okay, so they'll in essence get another full month at least of that specialist. Okay, but it's just going to be spread out into 2-week blocks. This provides a cohort for the teacher as well. The specialist teacher does not get exposed to all of the students in a given day. They get exposed to a limited amount of students. Okay, so that's important for us. However, in gym, the students will be escorted to the gymnasium. There is enough space in the gym in order for us to socially distance in the gym. And because we're not using any kind of surfaces like desks and chairs, etc., we don't have to wipe things down, sanitize before the next group comes in. So we have the opportunity to do that in the gym space. And we're excited to have that for your students to be able to go into the gym for gym. However, obviously those students, just like the classroom teacher will be teaching 2 sets of students at the same time. They'll be teaching your students in front of them. They'll also be teaching the students that are virtual as well, okay? When the weather's good, you know, gym class may move outside as long as the teachers can connect with the virtual kids to our Wi-Fi. We're getting capability to make that happen. And as well as music, okay? If we have opportunities for music to go outside as well, we will offer that opportunity as well. All right, for intervention, like I mentioned before, we will continue offering small group intervention for those students who need it. If your child receives a specialized service, they will continue to get that specialized service, whether it's via live with the teacher or whether it's in a rotational period, but they are gonna be either on a Google Meet with that interventionist or that sync teacher or whatever small group that they were getting. In addition, there will be opportunities for those students who are at home and virtual to probably link back in. And if your child has a friend that might be in virtual, they might have an opportunity to still see that friend in a small group in the afternoon. Teachers will be running those groups as well in the afternoons with students. And another thing we do want to mention is that the challenge students, we are at the end of February. Once we get some more data, once we have student data from the in-person students, as well getting some data from the virtual students, we will be collecting that data and sharing more information and starting our groups in March. Okay, so more information will come on our challenge program, or some folks know that as Sync. Okay. All right, these are something similar, what we mentioned on the previous slide. Learning support teachers will continue to see students in their spaces, taking them out by cohorts. So if your child is in the same classroom as another child receiving services, then they can get pulled together into a group. However, we will not be pulling students from multiple groups and then grouping them into the same room together, okay? We're trying to maintain that social distance and keeping students in cohorts. So those students who are in different classrooms will be coming on Google Meet, but there will be a rotation, okay? So that if your child doesn't see that teacher face-to-face, maybe the next time that child sees that service, they will get to see that person face-to-face. With bathrooms, we are designating bathroom breaks for each of the first through fourth grade students. If it's an emergency, you know, they can go to the bathroom. They don't have to wait to the break if it's an emergency, obviously. But we do have, you know, things that they will learn about using the bathroom pass, little things that we're going to be sticking outside of the bathroom so that we know how many students are in there. That way, students know not to go in because there's already a certain amount of students in the bathroom in there. Okay, so we don't exceed our capacity. Kindergartens have bathrooms, obviously, in their classrooms, so and they can only go in there once at a time anyway. But there will be aides will be wiping those areas down throughout the day in between usage. We do have at least a full-time nurse here available at all times. We may have up to 2 nurses on a daily basis. We're hoping that continues. It is important that you know your child's symptoms in the morning. If they're not feeling well, please notify us if they're not feeling well. If they're not up to coming in, but they feel like your child would like to do virtual that day rather than coming in, that's okay. So just because your child does not come in because they may not feel up to coming in that day, they're not feeling well, but they don't want to miss a full day of school, you think they still could learn virtually, they could go on virtually and it'll count as an attendance. So I want you to know that there is some flexibility in this as well. We're also having teachers maintain minor first aid needs because we want to make sure that our nurse, really is focusing in on the emergency things that might occur throughout the day. We have designated areas. If a student is feeling ill for any reason and has symptoms, we do have protocols for that in keeping students in a separate space with a separate nurse until parents can arrive and pick up those children. These are some things teachers can deal with in the classrooms, and they have been little minor things, but obviously they'll reach out to the health room if they have any of these issues or anything beyond these issues. They'll be able to deal with some of these in the classroom. These are some items that they will definitely send students to the nurse for. All right, here's just some things of when you should keep your child home. Okay, and again, they may have a fever, but they may still be able to go, and might feel up to going on the computer and coming on virtual, and that's okay. All right, we're going to keep track of those that come in, but if they do go on virtually, we will add that as well. The teachers will make note of that they will, it will count as attendance for that day. They don't need to lose the day. If they have, we do want them to stay home if they have these symptoms. However, if they're able to come on and partake in the class virtually, we ask that they do that, okay? Please do not send your child to school if they have any of these symptoms. Please do not send your child to school if they have been exposed to someone positive with COVID. Please do not send your child to school if you have traveled outside of the state for longer than 24 hours. Okay, so I know vacations are coming up, warm weather's coming up. It is imperative that if you have a planned vacation coming up, it's important that you give us a heads up. Let us know where you're going. Be honest. We will work with you, okay, in this process. We will alert you whether or not you probably may need to keep your child home. The nurse may ask your child to get a COVID test before they return. Your child, may be asked to stay at home for a period of time if they don't get a test before they can come back to school. This is important. We want to make every effort to keep both our staff and students safe in the building. We want to make sure that we can work with these, and we know that a lot of what happens in these cases are because people are not socially distanced. People are attending, various functions, family functions, parties, etc., and things do happen. But it's important, if that is going to happen, please do not send your child to school. You are putting your child and everyone else at risk in doing this. So please make sure that you follow these guidelines. Okay. Please forward any questions that you have to our school nurse and a classroom teacher, and we will work with you. But it is imperative that you let us know about any kind of travel when you're leaving. And again, they can still log in virtually if you are going on vacation and you don't want them to miss days of school. And if they can log on, I have no problem with them connecting virtually and being part of the classroom. However, we will be following up as far as when they can come back to school and return safely. Okay. Obviously, class kind of ignore that statement. At that time, this was visitors will be limited. If you drop off your child late to school, one thing I did not mention, you will need to bring your child into the foyer area. You cannot come into the main office. There is now a lectern that has the sign-in book there. You will sign your child in, and then we will let your child in once they are signed into the office. Birthdays. We are no longer allowing birthday treats to come into the building. So please do not send birthday treats with your child. Please do not drop off birthday treats for your child or the rest of the class. I want you to keep in mind that if you are going to bring something in, a great thing to do that all students can partake in is I encourage you to donate a book, your child's favorite book, or a book that you picked together to the classroom, okay? Your child can help read that book to the students, both in person and online, and then it can be donated to the classroom library. You could also bring in individually wrapped items. I'm sure that school supplies will be appreciated by all families, okay? So you can bring in those items, and that is okay to do. So if you do want to celebrate your child's birthday, use those unique ways of doing it. But we are not allowing birthday treats just because of allergies and everything of that nature. And obviously students can't be taking off their mask in order to enjoy the treats and all the things that go along with that, okay? And again, we're keeping our virtual students in mind, obviously. Whatever the in-person students are receiving, we don't want those that are in the virtual to be left out, okay? All right, that is the end of the formal presentation. I'm gonna work my way back. Ms. O'Connor, if you could assist me in
Yes.
Questions that maybe I have not answered yet.
Yes, could you clarify, there were a couple questions about Chromebooks. Okay, a couple folks, it seems that they're using their own Chromebooks or devices at home. So how to get them, and also how many per household, and are students allowed to bring in their own personal computers?
Yes. So that's a good question. We are not allowing students to bring in their personal computers from home. So it is imperative that if you do not have a district issued Chromebook, that you apply for a district issued Chromebook.
Oh, really?
If you go to www.cheltenham.org/Chromebook loaner, all one word, Chromebook loaner, okay, and I'll make sure that I push that out. I actually pushed it out to all of your teachers to share with you on Bloom. So you should probably check your Blooms. Teachers did push that out. I had them do that yesterday, but I'll also share that in the Dolphin Times as well. But if you apply, we have additional Chromebooks that are coming in, and each student that is in person needs a Chromebook and an individual Chromebook. So if you do not have one, you're using your own personal device, please apply, and then they'll give you a follow-up on how to pick one up at probably, I think they're still doing the pickups at Cedarbrook, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. I think it's, I have to verify that. I believe though it's only on Tuesdays, but I can verify that with Mr. Lang if need be.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
And then about, will we be taking temperatures or just the COVID questionnaire each morning?
Yep. We are not taking temperatures. The temperature actually is going to be used as as in a situation or a scenario where the parent I cannot reach a parent who has not filled out the COVID screener. They are not picking up their phone for any reason. I tried an emergency number. They're not picking up their screener. They're not picking up their phone. We will take that child to the nurse, and the nurse will do a quick assessment, take a temperature, ask those questions of that child, and then that child will be returned, into the classroom. However, we're still going to reach out to the parent and make sure that they fill out that COVID screener. But those are just, we are not taking temperatures and using that as a screener. I know that some buildings are using that as a screener. So there's some debate as to what, obviously, in kids, especially young kids, taking the temperature is not always a true indicator of whether or not they've, they are they have COVID symptoms, because a lot of students do not. So that's why we ask the questions that are in this screener so that we can, get an idea or a sense of whether or not, this child is possibly been exposed.
Okay, and then we also had a question about, can face shields be worn?
Yes. So face shield can be worn in addition to the masks. Okay, they will not. The only time, if you have a child that has sensory issues, and we have documentation that they cannot wear a mask, then they can wear a shield as a replacement. However, that is only in extenuating circumstances where we do have medical documentation. So you will have to work through our nurse, the pupil services director, in order to allow that. But it can be used. A shield can also be brought in addition to the mask if parents so choose. Absolutely.
Okay, and then I think you already answered this, but I'll just want to clarify. A couple of folks had asked about what the week is. So it is Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Wednesday is an asynchronous day. So there's 4 days in the building, 1 not in the building.
Correct. Yep. Wednesday, they do not come into the building. Wednesday is asynchronous, as it has been for all students. They are working on their assignments at home for that day. They do not come into the building on Wednesdays. And that offers the opportunity for us to do deep cleaning in the building on Wednesdays. There will not be hardly anybody in the building. Myself and Mrs. O'Connor. We also have to clear out our areas because our areas are also being deep cleaned as well. In our areas. So again, that is what the day that is what the week looks like.
Okay, and then couple of questions about transportation. If they're, say, walkers in the morning, but then it rains and they need to switch to car rider, is that possible? And then another parent asked, if they're taking the bus in the morning, can they be picked up in the afternoon?
Yes. We just need to know, please if you know that is something that's going to happen every day, if you know that they're going to be riding the bus in the morning, but they're not going to be riding the bus in the afternoon, please let your teachers know of what that looks like, what that schedule looks like, so that we have that in place. If something does happen that you need due to pending weather and something happens, it is okay to change that. Just give us a heads up and let us know. Let the teacher know that you're changing their location, so that way the teachers know where to send them at the end of the day.
Okay, and then and I think you did also clarify this about what the afternoon's going to be from like the 1:20 on, but I believe you did answer that question as well.
Correct. There is a period to work in reading. There is a period of work in math, but again, a lot of that's going to be the work that the teachers have provided the students to do. A lot of it's, sometimes reteaching, but sometimes it's going through workbook activities that they may have had students do individually. There will be assistance there if needed. Teachers will be there if a student needs clarification for that, in order to do that work. But again, there isn't, and in addition, the teachers will be probably calling students into small groups. And I shouldn't say calling, because they're not calling them over into, small table or anything like that, but they may be asking students to join Google Meet and students virtually to join in small groups if they're doing that. And then that will be more of a small group, either, an extension, intervention, enrichment, type groups that are occurring. So that's going to happen at least twice a week for your children throughout the week, throughout those 4 days.
Okay, and then you had a parent ask about if they are feeling uncertain about doing the hybrid and they want to switch to virtual. Is that a possibility?
Yes. If at any point hybrid, you feel uncomfortable with hybrid in this model, you can jump into virtual. However, once you jump into virtual, you can't a week later say, I want to come back. Okay, so we can't have that happen. We're not allowing people who picked virtual to switch now into hybrid. It is important that we maintain this continuity, maintain the level of students that we do have now. We can't have the jumping back and forth. So if at any point parents, make that choice, and that is, a choice that obviously as a family you need to make, and that is okay. You can just let us know, and we will make arrangements, and that's not a big deal in adding them into virtual and continuing that.
Okay, and we did get a couple more questions about Chromebooks as far as will they be given to students on the first day, and can Chromebooks remain, can they get two, one to remain in school and one for home?
No, so they will get one district issued Chromebook, okay, per student. They will have to bring that in every day. They would have to take it home every day, okay, when they're here. So, and they need it for Wednesdays, so they will be bringing it home. They're not going to be living here. So I recommend that you get if you do get a Chromebook, maybe get a Chromebook sleeve. They're kind of inexpensive. They can be purchased at Amazon for a few bucks, so you can get them you might even have them at Five Below. Slide that into the sleeve and then stick it in their book bag. That'll at least have a little bit of a cushion. A lot of the book bags now even have a little pocket sleeve for the Chromebooks. Okay, so you can also do that. There will be some items that the students can bring in that they could leave in the classroom. So materials, pencils, things of that nature. So they should have, hopefully keep those items in the classroom. And they should have items that they can use at home during asynchronous as well. So they don't have to lug in everything, take everything home every single day. However, they will have to take their Chromebooks home every day. They should charge them, obviously, every night. Please bring them in charged in the morning, because again, not every student's going to have access to an extension cord or an adapter at their desk.
Okay, and then initially families had indicated that they were only given one per family, but that's not the case anymore. It's 1-to-1, one for each child.
If they need it coming into the in-person, I was told that they can apply. I was told that they cannot use their home devices. So I would encourage parents to apply to get each child that's coming in their own Chromebook.
Right. And then I had a parent to find out what day their child was assigned. As we had already stated, it's the 4-day week. There is no 2-day hybrid. It's all 4-day.
Correct,
Mr. Perez? Yes.
Correct. Yes. That was a consideration initially based on the number of students that were coming in, being that we've had only 50% of the families come in. We're able to have students all 4 days a week. If we had let's say 60 to 70% of families wanting to come into hybrid, then we would have been forced to do a 2-day cycle, because we would not have had the social distant capability in the classroom in order to make that happen.
Okay, I had a parent ask, where can they find their child's student ID to sign up for the Chromebooks?
The 6 digits, the 6 digits they're already using to log in. So it's their 6-digit, if they log in with a 00 and their 6-digit ID, okay, that is the ID that they get into their Chromebook or their device, if they already have a Chromebook. Okay, but if you don't have that, feel free to email Mrs. O'Connor, and she'll get that to you.
Yep. And another parent said if their child has their own Chromebook at home, but they also have a district issued Chromebook, can they leave the district issued Chromebook in school?
I would have a concern about that. That is something that I don't know if the teacher is going to feel comfortable with that being left in the room. Again, with us, we would have to secure that every night. A lot of our computers that are in the building are locked away every night. So I would have, and I'm sure the teacher would be uncomfortable with having the responsibility of locking that computer up every night. So I think we would probably try to make that determination to bring one of those Chromebooks in every day.
Okay, and then a parent just wanted to clarify that students will report in the building on the 1st, but learning will be asynchronous. Is that correct? Yes.
Correct. Yep. All students in the in-person will report that day. Okay, and that's all you pretty much need to worry about. The work that's more of a concern for the virtual kids because they won't be logging in live. Okay, but yes, everyone on February 1st, that is our day for our in-person.
Okay, and then a parent
Our
wanted to know
first
if
day.
their student could bring snacks to school for the afternoon.
Yes, but again, we want to make sure teachers are going to be sharing more information with you on types of snacks. You should also be aware of any kind of, I would recommend ensuring that the snacks that are coming in are nut-free snacks that can be in a room with students who may have a nut or tree allergy. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about snacks in your classroom. You may not be privy to that information, because of the fact that you're in a virtual model right now. But now that we're coming back in the classroom, your classroom teacher may share that a student in that room may be allergic, and we need to be careful about the items of types of snacks that we bring in.
Okay, and another parent asked about when the bus information will be available. As soon as it is, we will send it out, and it will be going out via email. As soon as I have it, I will get it out to everyone as soon as
Yep.
possible. Okay,
And I think I see there, yes, beverage are included. Milk is included for the lunches every day, water as well. And for the Wednesday lunch that they bring home, it will be water. So they won't get a milk, obviously. It'll be a water along with the bagged lunch that they will take with them. Again, if they get the school lunch on Tuesday, okay, they'll get that lunch Tuesday afternoon for Wednesday.
okay. And if your child is a car rider, can they go home with someone else if that person is on an approved list without a visor tag? As long as I'm notified and the teacher's notified.
Correct. Yes. We understand that there may be some carpool scenarios that are going on, and we understand that. Again, we are trying to maintain social distance throughout the day. We do know that some families have cohorts and play dates outside of school with certain families. We obviously we can't control those situations. You guys, know that situation, know those scenarios. So we will try to work with families in that carpooling scenarios. That's understandable.
And I had a family ask the school's protocol when there's a positive COVID case.
So we shared information through our school board, and regarding there's some new regulations that are out, that when there is a positive case, there are some protocols that we look at. Number one, where is the case? Where is it isolated? Is it isolated in a certain area? Is there just one case? Is there multiple cases? So those we take into account. Every scenario is not exactly the same. However, there's some guidelines that we do follow. There may be times where we may not need to shut down a classroom. We may not need to shut down a part, or we may need to shut down a part of the building, or a classroom, or multiple classrooms, or the entire building for the day. Okay, so just realize that we could be almost like in a, it's almost like we're going to have a school day and we never know when we're going to have it. So just be aware that this is the nature of what's happening. I'm sure you've kind of heard about scenarios in other districts and things that have happened. That closures that have had to occur for either days, et cetera. So those things may happen, but we will continue to work with our direct COVID nurse, our pupil services, our superintendent, our health bureau. So all those folks are involved in any decision that we make. We don't make it. I don't make those calls. We report. We definitely are involved in the in ensuring that we know where students were in the cohorts. Contact tracing is essential in a situation like that. So that is why we have students in cohorts, because we can say exactly okay, this child was around these children for this day from this period of time to this period of time. They went to recess from this period of time to this period of time with these students. They were on the bus with this group of students, okay, during this period of time. So it is essential, you know, and it's, I think at the elementary level, I think we're fortunate enough that I think we can do this, and we've done it as well with our in-person students with our special education students as well. So I've had the privilege of having this on hand and having it occur, and it going fairly smoothly. So I just want to, you know, I know there's a little bit of angst in doing this, but no, you know, just sharing with you, my children are in a school district that went virtual. They went to hybrid for the holiday break, and now they're going back to hybrid starting next week. And my little one goes back next week. My older one goes back the week after. And it has, I would say that it has worked well. And they don't use a daily screener. We're using a daily screener, but there is no daily screener in their school district. They have like a waiver that I have to fill out to promise that I don't send my child with these symptoms. However, we've had some great success, you know, in that, and they did have to have a closure for 3 days, and that was early back in I think it was October, but they haven't had one, you know, since. So, and then they did a long break during the holiday break.
And oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, and we did have a parent ask about will there be quick tests available for students who are ill in school?
So good question. We do not have those in place yet. We hope that there's a quick turnaround with resources. You know, we're hoping that the new administration can push out resources to schools in order to access some of these things to our schools. But at this point, we do not have information on that. I can share that a great thing is our teachers are getting contacted to get their COVID shots. So I will share, I'm getting mine tomorrow. I'm excited about that. A lot of our teachers have gotten theirs. They're going through the list of groups of teachers. There will be another grouping coming out, and a lot of teachers are jumping on that. So I think that's a positive as well for our staff. But as far as testing, as far as anything of that nature, as well as other things that are available to students coming down the pike through our departments, we will definitely share that information once that's available.
And then we had a parent ask, are teachers going to share a list of materials for in-person learning?
Yes, they are. They just got their list. Many of them just got them finalized. So they should be sending them to you shortly. I vetted all the lists early. I think a lot of them gave them to me last week and early this week. So if they have not already sent them to you, they will be sending them to you shortly. And it's by grade level, and then you'll have an idea of what they need to kind of remain in the building. Some of these items you may already have at home. It's just a matter of bringing them in. And others might be some new items they would like you to bring in.
And then if we could just clarify one more time, upon entry to the building, will there be people guiding the children as to where they need to go?
Yes. We have all teachers who do not have a classroom. I can assure you that we're going to have tons of people in the hallway that first day and throughout that first week, escorting students to where they need to go. So you don't have to worry. You can feel confident that we're going to make sure that your child gets to where they need to go safely. So you don't have to worry. We'll have enough signage and enough people in the building that can escort groups of students or individual students to their pods and to their classrooms.
And I did have a parent say that Tuesday and Thursday is pick up at Cedar Brook. So thank you, Mrs. Quinn. She
Wonderful.
had just
Thank you.
gotten hers. Thank
Yep.
you.
Yep.
What's the first day of school? And this is a good question. A parent just said, when a child is home sick, what will determine when they can come back? That would be a good question.
Yes. So I would say it would be great for you if your child is home with any of those symptoms. It is important for you to reach out to our school nurse in order to have them determine whether or not they feel that your child could have been exposed, whether or not they feel that you should get your child tested, or whether or not you should see a doctor. So I would you know contact your pediatrician, or feel free to contact our school nurse. She'll give you some guidance on whether or not you should call your pediatrician, or sometimes the call nurses that you might have, depending on the type of insurance that you might have. But I think that's a good question, because if obviously there is a fever, we do want to kind of monitor that. In the past, it was always 24-hour fever free, but it all depends on the type of symptoms that your child might be having. In addition to that, whether or not you may want to follow up more on that.
And then a parent just asked if we could reinstate how long a child has to remain out of school if they go out of state.
So again, yeah, I think at it was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was. Don't quote me on this, and I'll try to we'll keep that in the Q&A to get you an exact time frame. But the quarantine dates have changed, with kind of going into a quarantine period. So I think 7 comes into mind, between 5 and 7 days. But again, it all depends on when you did go away, and when you did return. So don't quote me on those dates. I will try to get you exact days, so that you understand, if you are going away, how much time your child will need to kind of stay in virtual before they return.
Okay. And then a parent just asking to just quickly again, the daily school hours, what time should they arrive and what time is dismissal?
Yes. So arrival, 8:45 is when the doors open. And if 3:40 is the end of the school day, okay, officially 3:40. However, if your child's getting picked up in the car line, I would try to get here early, about 3:20. But for the most part, or if they're walkers and they're exiting, we might let those students leave a little bit early. But if you're waiting for a child to come from the bus, expect that they're going, obviously, the first day or first 2 days, maybe a little later than what's expected. And that's always the case. So know, if you get a bus time as to the estimated time kids are going to be coming back on that bus, I would always anticipate that that's going to be 15 minutes later than that. Okay, so just realize, if you're at a bus stop waiting and it's not there, it's okay. They're safe. It could just be running late. Sometimes we want to make sure that students are released to who they need to be released to. It is the first day, especially with our kindergarten students who may be riding the bus for the first time. So stops may be delayed those first few days of school. So please be aware of that and bear with us.
Okay. And how will the bathrooms be monitored? Will multiple cohorts be using the same bathroom?
Sorry, can you see me? I just stopped sharing it on.
Oh, yes.
Okay, yeah. So yes, we do have enough staff to monitor the bathrooms. So when they do happen during a bathroom break, okay, so if an individual needs to go to the bathroom at a certain time, there will be staff available to kind of be in those areas to kind of monitor that. There are groups of students that are going.
Okay. And about the face masks, we suggested a cloth mask, but is a 3-ply disposable mask okay to wear for a full day?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Disposable masks. we're just, I'm sharing these, and that's fine, and we understand washing them as well. Absolutely, the disposable masks are great. You can just throw them out at the end of the day, or if they do, they get lost throughout the day, it's no big deal. We can just give them another one. Absolutely.
And
We
then
do recommend those, yes.
is the district offering a vaccine to teachers currently, or any plans in the future?
And yeah, like I said, the health department has reached out to the teachers in groups. So right now, all of the certain groups of teachers have been given the okay to go ahead and apply for appointments for the vaccines. And then when they get to, I think they're on 1A, when they get to the next category, which is 1B, then that'll be the next group of teachers that will get emailed to schedule appointments. So I would say within the next few weeks, we'll have the majority of our staff who want to get vaccinated, and we are working with each staff to get that done, even if it's during this workday. We are working around the schedules to let them leave, get those shots, and return, or try to schedule it when they can just kind of leave and go get that shot.
Right. Okay, and just about contact tracing on the buses.
Yeah, so again, I think that's one of the things that we had shared with families, that we will do our best to separate students on the bus. However, we cannot, as mentioned by the superintendent in previous presentations, we cannot guarantee the 6-foot distance in the bus. So you just something we need to be aware of. We have not gotten the bus list yet to see how many buses are going to be coming and how many students are on the buses. But obviously, if they are with a sibling, or they're with someone that they live with, then obviously those kids should sit together. Okay, so we're not going to be separating kids by grade level as we have in the past. We are going to make sure that it makes sense for them, if they're in the same household, to sit together in the same seat. Okay, and that's how we're going to load the buses.
Okay, I hope I got pretty much everything.
Okay.
But
again, if we did not answer your question, we're going to be copying all these questions and answering them in a FAQ, and we'll make sure that we get them to everyone. Okay. I want to thank you all for bearing with us. This is an exciting thing that's happening. February 1st, we're so excited to see your children. We're putting a bow tie on some of the finishing touches and getting things ready for your children February 1st. So we hope to see you then. In the meantime, please reach out to your classroom teachers if you do have any questions related to materials, anything that they might need. Please reach out. Feel free to email me as well, nperez@cheltenham.org, or you can email my secretary, Mrs. O'Connor, COCONNOR @cheltenham.org. Okay. Thank you so much, and have a great evening.
Thank you.